peppermint, sorrel, ginger, beaver grass, or English. Get it ready. Your morning tea just got hotter.
Ooh, honey child.
On the cold, hard truth. Bobo 89.1 and Cayman's #1 talk show are bringing you morning talk like no one else. Monday Rewind, Impact Wednesdays, Caribbean Connections, and much more. Don't miss a beat with what's happening in the local community. Just keep sipping your tea.
What a mess.
Here's your host, live and direct from the Cayman Islands, Sandy Hill.
Merry Christmas, Cayman. Christmas is certainly a very special time for all of us. It allows us to slow down and spend time with our families, enjoy some delicious Cayman-style meals and heavy cakes, and most importantly, celebrate the true meaning of Christmas, sharing joy and love with others. Christmas holds many traditions for us in Cayman, like beautifully decorating our gardens, or gathering around the caboose for a good old kitchen dance. I also know that many of you are celebrating your own traditions today, with gatherings, games, festive music, and church services. I hope you're able to take this day to conjure some warm memories and rejoice in the festivities with your loved ones. Christmas has been known as a special, magical time in Cayman for as long as we can remember. This is especially because it was a time when seamen of the family would work their hardest to be home for the holidays. That extra special something of a Cayman Christmas is still alive today. We heavily cherish the spirit of family, peace, and togetherness, as referenced in our national song with the words, "When tired of all excitement and glamorous worldly care, how sweet thy shores to reach and find a welcome there. And when comes on the season of peace, goodwill to man, 'tis then I love thee best of all, beloved Isles, Cayman." Whether you are here at home in our beloved Isles or overseas, we hope that you're able to enjoy the magic of this season. In Cayman, spending time with our loved ones is at the center of festive merriment. I know that in my home constituency of Newlands, there will be gatherings of family and friends, and I do hope to see many of you during this time. It truly is a humbling honor to represent you, and I pray that each of you has a very Merry Christmas this year. Christmas is a time of gratitude and selflessness. The focus shifts from ourselves to others, our family, and our community. Despite the challenges faced over this past year, as individuals and as families, I ask you all to use this time to reflect on your blessings. Caymanians are resilient people, and while this year certainly has not been without its challenges, it has shown us that by working together and continuing to support one another, we can overcome any challenges that come our way. We still have much to be thankful for. For instance, we safely made it through another active hurricane season unscathed. With Hurricane Ian approaching our shores in September, the government worked quickly to supply plywood, sandbags, water, gift vouchers, and other necessities to all 19 members of Parliament for persons needing assistance in their constituencies. I wanted to take this time to also say we appreciate the support, confidence, and trust that the people of the Cayman Islands continue to have in this government. Your encouragement is invaluable, and we will continue to be here to serve you. This holiday season, as we enter the new year, I encourage everyone to take time to appreciate all that is good in our lives, to reach out to others with compassion, and to look to the future with hope. Christmas is not just a season to celebrate through decorations and gatherings. Sometimes in our lives, in our fast-paced and busy routines, we need to take time to step back, to appreciate what we have, and celebrate the gift of giving to others. During Christmas, we're reminded to give to others according to the blessings that God has given us. We know that Christmas was never designed for greed or wishing that you were given more. Only by giving are you able to receive more than you already have. This Christmas, I'm asking all of you to give generously, to give cheerfully, and to give thankfully. An act of giving, no matter how simple or small, has the potential to change an attitude, create a smile, or impact a life forever. And for all those people who, for different reasons, may feel in need of strength or encouragement, I hope you're able to share joy, love, and Christmas cheer with those closest to you this year. To our residents in Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman, on behalf of government, my family, and myself, I wish each of you a Merry Christmas filled with peace and joy. May God continue to bless you and these wonderful Cayman Islands, today and always.
I know that Christmas is a very special time of year across our 3 islands of Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. The arrival of the Christmas breezes, end of the hurricane season, getting together with friends and family, the Christmas lights, beef, sorrel, memories of Cayman's past with seafarers returning home after long absences, decorating patios with sand. Lizzie and I are looking forward to spending one more Christmas with you. We leave at the end of March after 4.5 years. It has been the privilege of my life to serve as your governor. When I gave my swearing-in speech in Parliament in October 2018, I said I would fight your corner. I hope I have fulfilled that pledge and contributed to the jurisdiction moving forward. Perhaps the most impactful example of my office's support over the last 4 years is the global pandemic, helping secure the test kits and vaccines which saved many hundreds of lives, reassuring the public at over 70 press conferences, and the emergency British Airways travel flights for stranded members of the community, organised by the hard-working staff in my small office. I am also pleased to have provided UK support in setting up a regiment for disaster response and during the global pandemic. I have promoted and defended our excellent financial services sector. I was part of the 2019 constitutional change negotiations, which modernised our relationship with the UK and set up a new police service commission, enhancing transparency and good governance. I have encouraged new funding to build improved prison facilities, championed new legislation on security and law and order, and advanced the human rights of all through the civil partnership legislation. My office has continued to provide technical funding in numerous areas, for example, a climate change risk assessment. We have also supported UK secondments for CBC, RCIPs and the Ministry of Health, with further secondments being arranged for Ofreg and the Ministry of Transport. I have worked closely with our excellent Deputy Governor in supporting the civil service to deliver excellence to our community. And it is great to see our Deputy Governor back after his recent health scare. All of this work helps build a strong, constructive UK-Cayman partnership, which is of mutual benefit for all of us. There have been some momentous occasions. Attending Her late Majesty's funeral in Westminster Abbey with the Premier was an extraordinary one. The overseas territories were treated very well and rightly given a prominent place in line with Her late Majesty's wishes. President Biden was even seated behind us. President Macron of France was even further behind. I enjoyed that as a British diplomat aware of the traditional rivalry with the French. I have very much enjoyed working closely with Premier Panton and value his strong integrity and good governance credentials. I fully support his vision of a sustainable and greener future for Cayman, as I think a majority of people on these islands do. We spent a lot of time together in London, going to numerous events, meeting many members of the UK Cabinet and the royal family. 2022 has witnessed many memorable moments. Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, plant a tree for the Jubilee, proclaiming King Charles III as King in our islands, a visit by the UK Overseas Territories Minister Milling, the Royal Navy ship HMS Medway visiting after Hurricane Ian brushed past us, the Lions celebrating 50 years, Elmsley Church celebrating 100 years, our first female Caymanian Chief Justice, Margaret Ramsay Hale, our first Caymanian Ombudsman, the first knighthoods for Cayman, Sir Alden McLaughlin and Sir Anthony Smellie, since Sir Vassal Johnson 30 years ago, the Cadet Corps' 20th anniversary, Aaron Jarvis's extraordinary success in the Gulf, the first cruise ship after COVID in March as tourism returned, the visit of the Privy Council, the 70th anniversary of the first commercial aircraft landing in Grand Cayman, and the return of the much-loved air show, including a UK Royal Air Force C-17. And I hope in future years we will see the RAF's Red Arrows. I do want to say a special thank you to Lizzie, my wife, who has given me wonderful support, not just in Cayman, but throughout my career. She won't want me to say this, but she has done much quietly behind the scenes, including volunteering at Jasmine, reading to children at John Gray, and playing oboe in the National Orchestra. She's also a member of the Caymanian Women's Quilting Group, which meets every Wednesday morning. Throughout our time here, we have felt very welcomed and at home. We have come to love and admire the islands, its people, and its rich history, culture, and heritage. You will always have a special place in our hearts, and we have made so many friends. Of course, there have been many fun moments. Defeating the pirates in an actual sword fight, and insisting that we had to win if I was to take part. I am probably the first governor to actually defeat the pirates rather than be captured. Learning the steel pan and proudly being able to play about 3.5 tunes vaguely resembling steel pan music, all thanks to the wonderful Earl Lapierre. I enjoyed listening to the caller to one radio station after the passing of the civil partnership legislation who said, "Send that governor home," with a cup of tea. That was a nice Cayman kind touch. Or the anonymous person on CNS who said Governor Roper changes his position more times than a Foster's shopping trolley. I never did work out what that referred to. I have tried to maintain a sense of humour, and I do think that not taking oneself too seriously is good for our well-being. We live in a challenging international environment, certainly the most challenging I can recall as a diplomat for almost 38 years. An energy crisis, war in Ukraine, the pandemic, tension with China over Taiwan, to name a few. I nonetheless remain positive and confident about Cayman's future. It is a very special place. You have so much to be proud of. A top 10 global financial services sector, which carried us through COVID, a world-beating tourism product, which is the envy of the region, the culinary capital of the Caribbean. We are one of the safest places in the region, though I do recognise the recent spate of armed robberies is a concern, but I have full confidence in our police to arrest those responsible. The combination of strong Caymanian culture, tradition and heritage with an openness to talent from all over the world, over 130 nationalities I am told, that is a powerful combination. The diversity gives Cayman great strength. It means we punch above our small size. I have used my role and my social media pages to bring different elements in our community together more. We should value the relative peace and tranquility that we enjoy on these islands. We may have a noisy and vibrant democracy. I know not everyone is happy with it, but let us all be clear that it is better than living under authoritarianism and fear. So please enjoy the festive season with family and friends, but please do so responsibly. Please do not drink and drive, and do travel carefully on our roads. We all have a responsibility to keep our community safe over the festive season. So let me end by wishing everybody a very happy Christmas and the very best wishes for 2023. God bless the Cayman Islands.
It is said that gratitude can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, and a stranger into a friend. As your Minister for Health and Wellness, I am grateful for the resilience of our people, the tireless work of my team, and for the support which I've received daily, both from my constituents in Prospect, my family, from fellow Caymanians, and residents across our 3 islands. As we embark together on this new chapter, individually and collectively, I encourage you to reflect with family, friends, and neighbors, to count your blessings and to seek out opportunities where you can be of service to others. Whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or simply the holidays, I wish you a happy everything and a prosperous 2023. May God bless you and continue to bless a beloved Cayman Island.
Good day, my friends. I'm Kenneth Bryan, the Minister for Tourism and Transport. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone within the sound of my voice a happy and joyous festive season. Growing up, Christmas has always been a special time for me because it's that magical time of the year that fills our hearts with the true spirits of Cayman kindness. It's that time of the year when we look forward to getting together with those that we love and cherish and enjoying some good old Caymanian food, while we look back at all that we have accomplished and survived throughout the year. But most importantly, Christmas is the season that encourages us to look beyond ourselves, our homes, and our families, and consider those who are in need around us. We feel the urge to give generously and share whatever we have, so that everyone in our critical circle of friends, in our neighborhoods, and in our communities can also have something to look forward to and enjoy. I know that this year has been especially difficult for some, and so I hope that everyone that can will make a special effort to be the reason why someone else enjoys the season this year. As Jesus said, "You are the light of the world. Let the light shine before others." This year, let us choose to be the light for everyone. Choose to share the love and create the joy for those around us. Loneliness can be a terrible thing at Christmas. If you have space at your table, maybe invite someone over. Or if you have an extra gift, I'm sure that there's a child that will be grateful to receive it. Let your light shine brightly for those around you. As I look back over 2022, I'm thankful and excited by all that have been achieved, particularly to reopen tourism, by working together towards our common goals. And so, as we prepare to honor the birth of Christ, I truly hope that this holiday season will be the happiest ever. On behalf of my family, the staff in the Ministry of Tourism and Transport, and my colleagues in the park administration, I wish you all a happy, healthy, and safe Christmas season, and a wonderful and exciting new year. May God richly bless you and your loved ones, and may He continue to bless our beautiful Cayman Islands.
Hello, I'm Kevin Watler and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Here's a summary of some of Cayman's latest headlines. 8 Cuban migrants who were found adrift at sea 35 miles from Cuba by a vessel that contacted the Cayman Islands were returned to their homeland since they were very close to Cuban territorial waters. Deputy Premier the Honourable Chris Saunders has described Cayman's current migrant situation as a crisis and has indicated that the cost to take care of undocumented migrants this year could amount to over CI $2.9 million. With over 300 migrants arriving in the Cayman Islands up to October of this year, the Deputy Premier has pointed out that there are serious financial implications. In other migrant news, almost all irregular migrants arriving in the Cayman Islands apply for asylum. There are currently 360 active asylum applications at various stages in the process for 357 Cubans, 1 Jamaican, 1 Venezuelan, and 1 Italian. While the Cayman Islands must adhere to its obligations under the 1951 UN Refugee Convention and the Memorandum of Understanding with Cuba, Cabinet has approved changes largely mirroring similar recent amendments to the United Kingdom that will expedite asylum applications and appeals while continuing to observe all international requirements. Police arrested 3 men on Tuesday after the vehicle they were in failed to stop when police attempted to pull them over. A full-face black mask was found during a search of the vehicle. The Department of Environmental Health says there will be no garbage collection on Monday, December 26th, and the landfills will be closed. Collections will resume, and landfills reopen on Tuesday, December 27th. Cayman Finance has launched a new internship program to create opportunities for Caymanian students or recent graduates interested in financial services to work on projects and engage in networking activities alongside the Cayman Finance team. Now for your CMR weather update, it's brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise was around 6:55. The sunshine and clouds will be mixed when the temperature is at 84 degrees Fahrenheit and the humidity at 69% like the forecast calls for. It will feel like it's in the high 80s. Winds east-northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour and the sun sets around 5:53. At nighttime, the temperature falls to the mid to high 70s. Looking forward, there is an increased chance for scattered thunderstorms for the next few days and into next week. If you would like to know more on any of these stories, visit CaymanMallRoad.com or follow Cayman Mall Road on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. That's it for now on A Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe and God bless. But there's still more to come on The Cold Hard Truth. We will now have a look at the reception in honor of World Champion Jordan Crooks that took place on Wednesday in Hero Square.
My name is Janae Powery Whitaker, and I'll be your Master of Ceremonies for this evening. Before we begin, I would like to invite Pastor Joseph Haylock for the opening prayer.
Good evening, everybody. You know, before I pray, I just wanted to say that I think it's so fitting how history is written when our motto is, He hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. And our first world champion is a champion of the water. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this monumentous occasion, dear Lord. Thank you, dear Lord, the creator of the universe, the creator of the seas, and the establisher on the floods. Dear Lord, we thank you for allowing Mr. Crooks to achieve this wonderful feat, dear Lord. Continue to work on him, dear Lord. Help him, dear Lord, as he carries our country on his shoulders right now, dear Lord. As he is doing a wonderful thing, dear Lord, help him. Continue to keep him humble, dear Lord, that he may achieve his full potential, dear Lord. Bless him, dear Lord. And dear Lord, help us to always support him, dear Lord, in his physical feats, dear Lord. Continue to work on him, dear Lord. But dear Lord, continue to work on our country as well, dear Lord. Bless each and every one of us here, dear Lord. May we always keep you first. And bless this rest this evening. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. God bless you all.
Before we continue, for any of you who may need the bathroom, please note that the town hall is open, but as you go, it's to the left on the corridor. Next up, I would like to welcome Ms. Melissa Worms, the Acting Deputy Chief Officer of the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage.
His Excellency, the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper, Premier, Honorable G. Wayne Panton, Deputy Premier, Honorable Chris Saunders, Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, Honorable Bernie Bush, Minister for Health, Wellness and Home Affairs, Honorable Sabrina Turner, Parliamentary Secretary, Mr. Isaac Rankin, Acting Chief Officer for the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, Ms. Joan Westakers, Chief Officers, Heads of Departments, other government officials, Chairman of the Board of SIASA, Mr. Stephen Broadbelt, distinguished guest, Jordan Crooks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good evening. It is my distinct pleasure, on behalf of the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, in my capacity as Acting Deputy Chief Officer for Youth and Sports, to have you join me at this reception to honor our World 50-meter freestyle champion, Jordan Crooks. Tonight's celebration is more than a gold medal achieved. It is about discipline. It is about believing in yourself to achieve what has never been done before. It is about overcoming obstacles and making the sacrifices necessary to fulfill a dream. Jordan, your dream is now a reality. You are the world champion, and we are so very proud of you. You have brought the gold home and given us a unique ability to continue to build national pride and bring our community together through sports. Look around you. You did that. Normally, world champions are those that we see on television, ones that we do not know or will ever meet, but with much Caymanian pride. I can say we now have a world champion, one that is very much real and one of us. We congratulate you, Jordan, on your historic achievement. The eyes of the world are upon you. Continue to shine bright, and we will continue to support and cheer you on. To your sister Jillian, we see you. Continue to make big waves. With your persistence and determination, you will succeed in accomplishing your goals. Thank you.
Up next, we have the Honorable Minister Bernie Bush, MP and Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage.
Good evening. Protocol having been established. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me in welcoming our first ever world champion in the Cayman Islands, 50-meter freestyle gold medal winner Jordan Crooks. This 20-year-old Caymanian made history with his amazing race last Saturday at the 16th FINA World Swimming Championships in Melbourne, Australia, winning with a time of 20.46. We're here this evening to congratulate Jordan Crooks not only on this historic achievement for the Cayman Islands, but on his endless dedication to the sport. Jordan swam a time of 20:36 in the prelims, breaking the Cayman Islands national record by over a second, becoming the 5th fastest all-time swimmer in the 50-meter freestyle worldwide. We then watched the semifinals with Crooks boasting an astonishing 20:31 and tying for the 4th overall on the all-time performers list. Just 15 100ths shy of the world record. 15/100s. We have seen your progress from the early years swimming locally to regional and international meets, including Carifta and the Youth Olympics. Since going to college, Jordan has been a part of the legendary Tennessee swim team and is a rising star in NCAA swimming, becoming a force to be reckoned with globally. Jordan, your dedication, determination, and skills have shaped you into the phenomenal swimmer that is with us today. You have written yourself into the history books, talented, hardworking, with an unshakable faith in God and your family. We look forward to seeing you reach even greater heights. Jordan, you have set many records over the past years, many in this past season alone, but we will always remember the record set on December the 17th, 2022, when you became the first Caymanian to achieve such a milestone. World champion. And I repeat it, world champion. Get used to it. They can't take that away from you ever. Your return home for the holidays gives us the welcome opportunity of formally recognizing you. We are honored that we're able to celebrate your stellar performance with you in person. We appreciate that you have only a few days left before returning to resume your studies at the University of Tennessee, but we could not let this moment go unmarked. In recognizing your accomplishments, we must also thank your support team over the years, your parents, your mother Faith, and your father Jimmy. They have been steadfast in their commitment to your success, just like Faith has always been steadfast in her connection with God. The first day I walked into my office and sat down as the minister, my first call was to Frankie Flowers Sr. And I said to Frankie, I know swimming is going to put us on the map first. I need you to work with me with all the connections you have. A few hours later, I got a call, and that call was from Faith. She did not ask for nothing for Jordan or for her daughter. She asked, Minister, please put a pool in every district. She says, especially your district of West Bay, there's a lot of talent down there. Please put a pool in every district. Try to find the money. But we had to deal with pandemic, so. But there's a story about Faith, and people will understand why a lot of people keep mentioning Faith when they talk about Jordan. I was a soccer father. I know what it is. I know what soccer moms, swim moms, and I know what it is to go through that. Driving them there, flying them here, saving money to be able to go this place. I've been there. But I was given a story by Dr. Joe Marzuka. Joe and the Crooks had their children together. I would not call the name of the place on the 7-mile stretch. And they had them in the program. And they were the only locals there or whatever. And Joe said they treated us so bad we left. I never took my children back. He says, not Faith. Faith was bent that her children were going to swim, and she took them to the next program. That's determination. You remember that, I hope? Okay. From as far back as George's mother can remember, water has been a part of this island boy's life. It was they who introduced you to swimming as a toddler, and they who later took you for formal swimming lessons while you were a student at Grace Christian Academy. Their love was shown in investment of time and money they made to help you realize your dreams. They took you to daily early morning pool sessions and made sure that you and your sister Jillian were at local, burner, and overseas meets. The life of a competitive swimmer is hard, and Miss Faith, the driving force in Jordan's pre-college swim career, also shouldered that duty. His sister Jillian, who is his biggest cheerleader, but probably also his biggest competition in and out of the pool, has always stood behind him. Your extended family, swim parents, coaches, and friends who have been behind you on this journey are all to be applauded. Thanks must also go out to the Lions Club of Grand Cayman for years back when they built the Lions Pool, which paved the way for this sport and where Jordan began his swimming legacy. Also, the staff, which comes under our ministry, who ran the pool all these years. Thanks must go to them as well. Just like how you had that little story about faith, just to tell you where swimming has come from. The President, Secretary General that will be speaking representing the Olympic Committee, Mr. Carson Ebanks. I was the acting director of sports. And we found that the individual who was in charge of the pool was doing little underhanded stuff that the local children were not getting into the pool. I went in, made some rules, and he got a top police superintendent to go to the governor decision I had made. He was the permanent secretary, and he went with me when the governor called me in. And I'll never forget one thing Carson said. When the governor said, "Oh, but we all pay taxes," he said, "Yes, Governor, but we've been paying for 40 years. You've only paid for 4. And the Lions Pool, after that, some of the changes were made. CIASA has made strides, but there are still strides that CIASA has to make. And they are working on it, I can tell you that. My first speech after being a minister, I told this country, the PAC government supported me and backed me that we were going to finally build a 50-meter Olympic pool that they've been talking about for 30 years. They helped me, they found some money, and it's in the budget there. We're waiting on CIASA, and we were supposed to actually meet this morning, but the flight was delayed, and this was all planned before my man said his history. So we have been in dialogue on the 50-meter pool for the Cayman Islands for some time, and this ministry has committed funds to start this process and is working to achieve this goal with additional funds in the upcoming budget cycle. Recognition also, thank you, goes to the Cayman Bay Aquatic Club and the CBAC who helped to mold you as a competitive swimmer. It is a sign of the strength of those relationships that you are still in touch with CBAC to this day. Last but not least, thank you to the Cayman Islands Aquatic Sports Association. As the local governing body of swimming in Cayman, CIASA coordinates many aspects of competitive swimming locally and manages national representation at the regional and international meets. A special thanks also goes to CIASA's technical director, Jackie Pellerin, for all, and Jackie, if I messed up your name, please forgive me, Bonjour. Please forgive me. All his assistance during the short time here. In wrapping up, it would be remiss of me. We also have another world champion in our midst, another young man. And from the very beginning, I said I need role models, people at the top. In his chosen field, some say it's not a sport. I will argue forever on that. But we have Robert Thompson Jr. Please stand, young man. Another has the same, he's very similar to this young man, and that he's humble. The sport that he's in is the drug-free bodybuilding. In other words, there are no drugs allowed. He just left here, went to California, and won the World Championship. 2 years, a little time, he won the Amateur World Championships. Now he's in the pro category. Robert, like I said, the country didn't know, I myself didn't know. We're going to make this country know who you are and what you are about. Respect. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. And his father also is another case of parents being there with his son all the step along the way and funding it out of their own pocket. and it's not cheap. This is certainly a proud time for us as Caymanians, and what a perfect gift for the season. Most people don't know your father is a 6-degree black belt, Jordan. Jimmy has been here a long time, and he's always peaceful, quiet, and he and Faith were a pair made in heaven, because with her Christianity and his peacefulness, you and your daughter had to be peaceful, fair for people, even though I understand that your sister's the rough one, so that's okay. Jills, we're expecting you right behind to come and bring us some more medals or some more championships. You have no idea how proud you have made us. God go with you. The nation stands behind you. God bless.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Apologies. Up next, I would like to welcome the Honorable Premier Wayne Panton.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very grateful that protocol has been established. I see so many wonderful citizens gathered here this afternoon. What are we all here for? I want you to point at the reason we are here. And I want you then to stand and cheer with us. Congratulations to Jordan, our world champion, in whom we are incredibly proud. Minister Bush has said so much about how proud we are as a country, and I can tell you how proud we are as a government as well. I remember last year, he, in one of his discussions, sometimes people call it rants, where he's talking about his aspirations for sports in our country and what it can do for our people, what can be achieved. I remember him saying that swimming was going to bring us our first significant medals and even a world championship. I remember him saying that, and I am so proud of his energy that he brings to this. And you can see, I think all of you saw the emotion that he reflects, the pride that he reflects in being able to stand here this afternoon and speak the truth about an amazing young Caymanian and what he has achieved as our world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bush didn't choose Heroes Square by accident. Because he knows that you are a hero to our people and to our young people in particular. Swimming is one of those sports, of course, that is very subjective. Sorry, there's no subjectivity. You just have to put maximum effort in, and your performance, the result, is a result of your efforts. But I think Minister Bush also recognized very appropriately that as much as it is the individual's efforts, as much as it is some, let's be honest, some good genetics. It is more about the effort of you, the individual, and the parents or people around you who are supporting you. Because without them, without your family, without your wonderful mother and your wonderful father, you probably wouldn't be able to achieve what you have achieved. So the applause, as much as it goes to you, Jordan, it goes to them as well. Because we need, as much as we need great role models like you, we also need great role models like your parents as well. And I can't tell you how much we all feel and love the kind of support it takes for our young people, our children, to be able to achieve what you have achieved. And it is what is the integral part of my motto of community builds country. Because it starts with the families, it starts in the communities, and we build stronger countries as a result. So, you have done an amazing job. You know, I think you've probably had about 10 years of disciplined commitment to this. And that is another example for our young people who need to find role models, who need to have those role models who they can look up to achieve what you have achieved as Cayman's world champion. Whether it's sports, or whether it's education, or whether it's something else. Young man, you are a phenomenal example of drive and commitment. And you are a wonderful example for our young people. So thank you very, very much. We truly, truly appreciate what you have achieved and the kind of example that you can set. Ladies and gentlemen, in recognition of Jordan's achievement, the government is going to set up a savings account, a share savings account, and for Jordan, and fund it the amount of $25,000. We will have more details on that later. I'm talking to you and to your parents. That, we feel, is the only way for us to really truly reflect the value of your achievement and the effort you have put in, because we recognize the commitment that it takes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to celebrate Jordan, our champion. And I wish I could dance and sing the song, but I'm going to do a little thing anyway. What is he? He is our champion. 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 We love you, Jordan. We are immensely proud of you. And I hope I've done justice to your achievement, who you are as a Caymanian, and how we think of you. God bless you, young man, and we will continue to support you in your efforts. We look forward to your sister being able to be here with us on another occasion. Maybe she'll be a world champion too. But we also look forward to all the young Caymanian children who can look at both of you as incredible role models as to what they can achieve. So God bless you, and God bless these Cayman Islands. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. And I think I have my nerves in check now. So up next, we have Mr. Carson Ebanks, the Secretary General of the Olympic Committee.
Good evening, everyone. Thank God protocol has been established. I would not have to repeat all those salutations. But I will say, it's so good to see all of us here celebrating Jordan's phenomenal World Championship. So let us just pause for a moment and reflect on the enormity of this outstanding accomplishment by a phenomenal young Caymanian. The world has a population of approximately 8 billion people. A young and very talented Jordan Crooks from the Cayman Islands with a population of approximately 70,000 bravely faced the best swimmers in the world and outswam them all, bar none. The 17th of December, 2022, a day for us all to remember, a day for the history books to record, the day when the amazing Jordan Crooks became a world swimming champion, a world champion. The magnificent distance runner from the 1970s and 1980s, Tanzania's Filbert Bayi, just recently put out a book called Catch Me If You Can. He revolutionized middle distance running by running from the front. Jordan swims like Bayi runs, from the front and doesn't ease up. Filbert Bayi wrote, I have identified 3 values that sustain me when I lost and when I won. Confidence, commitment, and sacrifice for the greater good. I know that Filbert Bayi lives by these values. He had 2 world records, an Olympic and Commonwealth medals. I know too that Jordan also lives by these values, and he lives by them every day as well. The playwright, author, poet, and social activist Langston Hughes, in his poem entitled Dreams, tells us, hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen with snow. Jordan, thank you for showing us that dreams do come true. Thank you. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Carson. Up next, we have Mr. Stephen Broadbell from the Cayman Islands Amateur Swimming Association.
Thank you. With protocol observed, Christmas came early for the Cayman Islands, but this gift was not given. This gift was earned by Jordan. I will remember exactly where I was when he hit that wall in 20 seconds and 43.43. I will remember that in 10 years from now, in 20 years from now. I know exactly where I was sitting I was in Jamaica at a swim meet in a hotel room at dark 30 in the morning. And I'll never forget that moment and the amount of pride that I felt, and the whole team, the junior team that was over there. It was just the vibe throughout just lifted everybody. So thank you for that, Jordan. I'm going to talk about a little history on this journey, this 10-year journey of Jordan's that most people I know would have quit. His development path, he made Carifta team 5 times. And the first 4 times, he didn't make an individual medal. But each time, from 2014, he kept going back. Then he'd make finals, and just incremental every year. Then he'd get a relay medal, but not until his last year at Carifta did he score his medals. So a lot of swimmers that I've worked with, you just see them, they just don't have the same determination. And I've already used your story this weekend at this meet in Jamaica to speak to other parents of the swimmers and say, don't give up. Look how long it took Jordan to get where he did. Look what he did, and follow his path. Lots of other, he represented the Cayman Islands, say at Carifta at 5 different times, and then one of those years he didn't make the team, but he didn't give up. He kept on going. He went to CCCAN, which includes Central America, which is an extremely fast meet. The Youth Olympic Games in 2018 in Argentina, and then he represented Cayman at the Island Games in Gibraltar as well. So he's represented the country in over, close to, I think, 13 different events and counting. COVID-19 robbed a lot of athletes, including Jordan, for example, of his last time out at Carifta. He didn't have his final event, that's a junior meet, and at age 17, age out of it. So, and then from there on, after Carifta, as the protocol started to ease up, he represented Cayman at the Pan Am Junior Games. And then, most recently, in the summer of this year, at the World Championships in Budapest, long course. By the end of the season, by the end of the year, I'll have you all fully briefed on swim language, what short course, long course, DQ, IM, you name it, you'll have the full appendix, like a proper swim parent would. So, this does not have to be a one-off, and it won't be a one-off. This is just the beginning. Despite the odds, Jordan, beat them on skill, hard work, and then just his racecraft. Imagine the pressure on the blocks, ready to go, and the measuring reaction times in hundredths of a second. The pressure on Jordan was incredible, but he held up to it and proved what he could do. He's a role model, he's an inspiration, but through God he is very humble, and in a way that is his stealth. And as Coach Jackie said, the French team calls Jordan the Destroyer. For most swimmers in the Cayman Islands that swim competitively, it is not an after-school sport, it's not an after-school activity. It is a journey becoming a student athlete. And what that brings, these scholarship opportunities, and also the circle of friends and the people that are in swimming. And I'm sure it's the same in other sports, but these swimmers form very tight bonds with each other. They say it's an individual sport, but your teammates around you are just as important, and it teaches you lessons throughout the rest of your life. There's a massive commitment from the parents. As the Premier had said, 5 a.m., multiple times a week, late at night, it's not, the results do not come quickly, and it is easy to give up. I'd encourage any swimmers that are here this evening, if you're finding it hard, it's okay, that's how it's supposed to be. That means you're making progress. The support from the parents, again, it would not have happened without the supports from his mom and dad. And then with his sister by his side as well. But Minister Burney and the Ministry of Sports in these last couple of years, their support and their drive has been, a very, very strong and hard push that we are going to do this, we are going to make this happen, we are going to put Cayman swimming on the map. When we were at Carifta earlier this year at Easter, multiple teams would come up, their managers would come up to me and say, "What are you doing in Cayman? What's happened? What's changed since COVID? How are you coming back so strong?" And that's our little secret. We're not going to tell the other teams that. So thank you to the Minister Burney and his team. We couldn't have done this without you. Thank you. His local club is always, I'm sure Jordan's heart will always be with his local club here at CBAC and the support you've had from the international meets from CIASA. The Olympic Committee should also be strongly recognized. The support and their drive to support swimming as well has been fantastic over these, since COVID, and looking forward to next season in 2023. It's going to be a busy year, Jordan. The volunteers can't have you all the time. And then his coaches locally throughout his whole path of development over the last 10 years, and then also his coaches at Tennessee at his university in the States. They've all made a significant contribution, and they always will. The thing about the Cayman Islands, we have some of the best coaches in the world in swimming, and people do not realize this. And you can go to any of the top 10 big countries, and you're not going to find the same level of coaches. You won't have access to that. We really are very, very fortunate here, and that's a great foundation for us to build all of our youth and develop our youth in swimming. I'd also like to recognize the support that we've received from a lot of the sponsors that contribute. The Ministry of Sports is the largest supporter through their grant program, but also the Flowers Group, Maples, KPMG, Foster's, CUC, Butterfield Flow, and Fraser Properties all support swimming in the Cayman Islands. And then, of course, the people of the Cayman Islands. Thank you. Swimming is at a turning point in Cayman, not only as we're seeing it on the ground here, but as other countries around the region are seeing the depth of our teams and the abilities of swimmers like Jordan. The size of swimming participation has quadrupled in the last 20 years, possibly much higher than that. We are now ranked, according to FINA, first in the region. So in the Caribbean, Cayman Islands is number 1. And we rank 3rd in the Americas, only behind USA and Canada. And from these World Championships, we rank 11th in the world. The only 10 above us are these large nations, USA and countries like that. No one else comes close. The Aquatic Center, the 50-meter pool, or the Aquatic Center as a whole, has been finalized, and we're working through all the final details with the ministry. We expect to have that shared publicly very, very soon. But the whole design side of it is done, and we're just working through some final details. So we're extremely happy about that, and we couldn't have done it without the support from the Cayman Islands government. Thank you. This will not only open up more lane time for our swimmers, no waiting lists for Learn to Swim, but also sports tourism is a key part. When you travel to these big events like the ones that Jordan just came from and Gillian in Melbourne, Australia, the size of the crowds, that's a very good tourism industry. They all stay in hotels, they all have transportation, they all eat a lot of food. It provides a lot of income for those towns or small countries when events would be hosted here. So a lot of international events and training camps. We've already got a long list of colleges in the US that want to come down to the Cayman Islands to do swimming training camps in the winter. Can't imagine why. But they're not going to do it unless we have a 50-meter pool. So beyond that, swimming is not just about competing. It's a way of life. It's about the community and swimming as, as just something that Caymanians do. Not just for the youth, swimming opportunities with our new facility for seniors and just for general wellness. A lot of the therapeutic applications of swimming for seniors has also a lot of benefits. So it's more than just about racing. It's about swimming as a community activity, and Aquatic Center has been a hub of that community where people can come and swim in a very safe environment that's controlled. So as it says on our crest, he hath founded upon the seas. Let Jordan lead the way to the future of Cayman swimming. More firsts are in store with open water swimming and also with artistic swimming. We have a big international event planned in March next year for open water swimming. And artistic or synchronized swimming, as it's also known, is growing in leaps and bounds in the Cayman Islands. So there are lots of different disciplines to attract, whatever your individual swimmers are interested in. But again, congratulations again to Jordan, world champion, gold medalist, fastest man on the planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen. Now up next is our honoree of this evening, Mr. Jordan Crooks.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I won't keep you guys too long, but I just want to give a special thanks to my parents, my family. I would not have been able to do any of this without them. I appreciate them more than they could possibly ever imagine. A special thanks also to a coach that I had when I was younger. His name was Caleb Miller. He stopped me from wanting to quit the sport at a young age, and is one of the few reasons that I ended up in this position, and I'm so grateful to him. I would do anything for that man, and I appreciate him more than you could possibly ever imagine. I also want to give a special thanks to the Westerberg family. They supported me through the entire journey, even on days when I didn't believe in myself and that I would be able to, pursue the swimming the way I wanted to. They never doubted me. They were always there, always supporting me, giving me positive messages, and I appreciate them for that. I'd like to give them special thanks. Thank you, everyone, and also thank you to Cayman. Cayman is a special place. I've told many people overseas that I wouldn't have wanted to grow up anywhere else. I am very grateful for the opportunity that it's given me, and I appreciate every last one of you. Thank you. Thank you.
We can be louder than that. Let's give him one more. Thank you, Jordan. And from one young Caymani to the next, I'm very proud of you. Up next, I would like to re-invite to the stage the Honorable Premier and the Honorable Minister Bernie Bush to present Jordan with a congratulatory gift.
Hold on. Lost it. Okay. Hi. What the Premier is handing over to Jordan tonight is a piece of our home. It is a an award made from Caymanite, and it signifies your accomplishments. It has your name, it has your event, it has the time and the date that this historic event took place. So from our hearts to yours.
The president of Digicel is not on the island, and when you got 40 pins in your leg, it takes you a long time to go through TSA, as you know how that can be. You've traveled enough. But Miss Diane sent this to me and says, look, please tell the young man this is a gift. Wishes you well on behalf of the Digicel family, and it's the latest phone. So.
Jordan, stand up. Can you stand in the middle of the two of you? Stand in the middle.
This is the before and after. Ladies and gentlemen, most of my staff was on vacation. They arrived in from last week Friday, and they've been working all over the weekend trying to make this evening happen. The young lady who you see emceeing is one of our interns. She's also a former youth parliamentarian. And I hope whoever's saying the thank you will call June, Ventisha, Melissa, Tanisha. Ladies and gentlemen, they have slaved some wicked hours. And June is one of those mothers that takes her daughter to swimming at 5 o'clock in the morning too.
Thank you, Minister. Good evening. I would like to thank everyone for joining us this evening for this very momentous occasion. Thank you to the Honorable Premier and Minister Bush for your support and inspiring words, but mostly for the support of Jordan and all of our athletes. To the Secretary General of the Olympic Committee and the President of the Swim Association, your unwavering support to the sport of swimming is appreciated beyond words. Jordan, there is little more to say other than congratulations again. We look forward to what lies ahead. Thank you to our production team, our food vendors, but mostly, thank you to each and every one of you for joining us tonight. We hope that this is one of many celebrations for our athletes to come. We do have so many out there who are going to follow the footsteps of Jordan and make us all proud. A special thank you to our ministry team, our DCO, Ms. Joan Westakers, our acting DCO, Ms. Melissa Worms, our policy analyst, Ms. Tanissa Barnes, our intern, Janae Whitaker. Thank you, ladies, for putting this all together. And as I close, I say, we wish you a Merry Christmas with your family, both near and far. Please enjoy the Christmas season and have a healthy, happy, and prosperous New Year. Thank you.
We will end the cold hard truth with the full press conference with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as they address the recent spike in robberies.
Well, good afternoon again. I think we were here last on November 17th, so it was important for us to just to come here today and just give you an update as to where we're at since our last meeting. We thought it was important because it's important for us to give that reassurance to the public, as we are all aware of the ongoing problems at night as far as robberies are concerned. We recognize that has been certainly on everyone's in everyone's conversation recently, quite rightly so. There's quite a bit of anxiety in the public, and we want to do everything we can do, and we are doing everything we can do to reassure the public that we are we've taken extra measures to finally see this come to an end. Since our meeting on the 17th of November, we've had 12 armed robberies since. The majority of those were concentrated in the Georgetown area. 7, I would just say a total of 7 in the Georgetown area. We've had 1 in Town and the remaining 4 in West Bay, either 2 in the district of West Bay and 2 on 7 Mile, the public beach area. What I will say is that we have increased our heightened armed units on the roads. We've got twice as many armed units on the roads today as we did previously. We collapsed some of our back offices to add extra police officers on shifts across all districts. We have executed well over 6 search warrants. In addition to that, we have stopped and searched multiple individuals we either involved in suspicious activities or we suspect are involved in these robberies. We have trawled well over 1,000 hours of CCTV. That's Mr. Branson will speak further about the investigative aspect of it. We have seized 6 cars, and there's just a multiplicity of forensic investigation ongoing. But in short, it's just show what we're doing is quite a lot of work to get where we want to get as far as charges. We have charged 1 individual, and that person is currently on remand at HMP for 1 robbery. As we said earlier, that we know that there are 3 groups out there involved in these robberies. That individual that we've charged is from one of those groups. We're obviously concentrating on the remaining 2 groups, but looking at the other individuals involved in that one group that we spoke of. That's really the purpose of us being here, is just to show the amount of efforts that's gone into bringing these individuals to justice, the amount of work that our officers are doing, and certainly as an organization, the holistic approach we're taking to give the community assurance that we're doing everything we can possibly do to identify, obviously, gather the evidence that we need to put these persons before the court. We are going into a busy shopping period. We are very mindful of that with the Christmas shoppers out and about. Some of the commercial businesses opening to later hours, so we're very much aware of that, and Mr. Ebanks can speak more in terms of what's happening there and the heightened visibility at some of those locations. And really that's it from me. I've got Detective Superintendent Lanson here again to my left, and he will give you any questions you have around certainly the investigative side of it. I'm sure he can provide the answers you need. To my right here is Superintendent Brad Ebanks, who is in charge of all uniform services, frontline, and what we're doing as far as heightened visibility. There is heightened visibility, the overt side of it, as well as there is a overt, covert policing strategy that we've employed, and I won't go into those details in terms of what we're doing covertly, but just rest assured that there is a covert angle also included in our plan. Okay.
If I can add then, as Mr. Walton has said, we've got detectives working day and night on these investigations. So my detectives are working absolutely diligently right the way through. We've got a plan right the way through Christmas. Even if there's no more robberies, they have got so much work to catch up and backfill. We've averaged that each of these offences will require 40 or 50 hours of CCTV recovery, viewing, watching and logging for evidential purposes. So that's nearly 2,000 hours of CCTV the detectives are going through a bit at a time. And obviously some offences take priority over others, or they lead in different directions. But it's an immense amount of work. I will say that CCTV has resulted in 6 cars so far being recovered and seized that we're confident were used in these robbery offences. So even last night we recovered a car. We're confident they are the vehicles being used, but we do know that the offenders are reasonably forensically aware. They're always wearing masks, they're always wearing gloves, so the forensic analysis of those cars is quite difficult and challenging, and will take some time to resolve. We don't know what we're going to get, but hopefully it will identify suspects. So we, as Mr. Walton said, we are confident there's 3 groups of individuals that were originally doing different types of robberies each. We had the numbers robberies, we've had small commercial premises with guns, and we've had individual people robbed, sometimes with guns, sometimes with machetes and other things. We've charged one person with one of the robberies, and we think to an extent that's disrupted that group a little bit, but we know they are interchangeable. We know they're all mixing. The cars have got links to various other gang members, or they're not a gang, they're just groups of criminals. We know most of them are already on our radar. They are criminals. Some are on bail, some are awaiting trial. There's one individual who has been sentenced recently in his absence. Correction, he was convicted in his absence and is awaiting sentencing. I will give you his photograph at the end of this. He needs to be found by the public. We need help. He is out on the streets. He needs to go to prison. So we need some help with that. We are getting information from the public. Since the last appeal, we've had a number of calls, certainly suspicious suspects, suspicious vehicles. We've stopped, we've searched them, and the people we're stopping are on our list of a dozen or so people of interest to us. But if we stop them and search them and they haven't got guns, they haven't got proceeds of robbery, they haven't got masks, we can't do a lot about them then. But they're on our radar. We are being persistent. We're not going to let the matter down. We're going to keep looking at them overtly and covertly. So there is plenty of work going on, and please tell the public, let us reassure them that everything we can do, we are doing to try and catch these people.
Okay, I suppose over to you with any questions you may have.
I can take us out first. Is there any way that police might consider releasing some of the CCTV footage that might not jeopardize the case? We've already received descriptions of pictures to pursue. Perhaps the police might be willing to put out some of the CCTV that might help the public.
Most of the offences will require identification at the end of the day. So it's really challenging for us legally to publish photographs and images that will ultimately need to be examined in a court of law. So if there's any doubt in the matter, we are on the side of don't publish them. I certainly don't want to publish images just for entertainment value. If you can't identify a suspect, if we can't work out who the person is, then we're not going to release it just for that.
Jeopardize your case.
Yeah.
In lieu of that, it's common practice around the world to publish a top 10 most wanted. Is police going to come forward and start telling us who are these loosely affiliated groups? Who's Cayman's most wanted people?
Well, the answer to your question there, Andrea, is that these are not Cayman most wanted. So there's a big difference in terms of whether or not they're wanted by the police or they're persons of interest. So I think we need some clarity around that. Yeah. We've said there are at least a dozen individuals out there. These are certain persons of interest that we are, based on everything that we have examined so far, suggest that are involved in these robberies, and it's, as we've said, loosely associated with each other, the 3 groups. So I don't want to go and I think it would be unfair to start putting faces out there of individuals who we obviously have an interest in, but who aren't actually, at this point, haven't, from all evidence, we've committed a crime at this very moment. So until we're confident they've committed a crime, we're involved in a crime, then we would put their faces up. But we just wouldn't do it because there could be other issues. There are evidential issues as well as a legal challenge.
I do have another question, but the case is a slightly different thing, but Chip, you want to follow up? Okay, a bit of perspective for the people. For the person who isn't thinking about it, they just know that there's a robbery, police are being paid to solve this thing, get done, do your job, get it done. But can you give the public a bit more clarity from the police's perspective? How many of your detectives are out there, and what does this workload look like? You just said there's 2,000 hours worth to go, so how many detectives are there? How many cases? What's the caseload like? You know, that people might understand that the police are actually working, but
there's been 32 robberies since the beginning of August. On average, those robberies require 40 to 50 hours of CCTV. So the ones that happened months ago, we've worked through a lot of that CCTV already. We've found cars, we've recovered the cars. The more recent ones we're still working on, but we prioritise and we look where the CCTV will take us. We try and track, you know, a grainy image of a car leaving a robbery scene. We track it as much as we can across the island, trying to find a decent image where we can identify the vehicle and then go after the vehicle, or keep on tracking it until we identify occupants, which is the important thing for us. So it's varied all the way through. I've got 10 detectives solely investigating, based in Georgetown, Boddentown, West Bay, investigating the robberies, and I've got the task force that are out doing covert patrols and investigating some of the offences themselves. So we've probably got about 20 to 25 detectives investigating these offences, plus all the firearms officers, extra traffic cars out, and as Mr. Walton says, we've closed down a lot of uniform office teams and put them out on the streets. So I will reassure you guys, when you're off at Christmas, Wendy was talking about our Christmas lunch, our guys will be working. We will be out on the streets Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
We will be as well.
Not so sure.
So, but in terms of proportions, or context, I guess, so you've got this 20-25 detectives, not including the other bits, of how many detectives? I'm just trying to give people a sense of the scope of all the resources. What's the percentage, if you will, that's being focused kind of in this area? Specifically, I guess, the robberies.
That's probably half of our SIP's detective force. So we've still got the sex crimes continuing with the MASH, we've still got financial crimes continuing, we've still got other units, but there's the concentration on this. But we're still having stabbings and shootings, and we've got other investigations as well. But yeah, it's probably half of our available detectives are working on these cases.
Well, we've seen where there have been, and we've been receiving pictures asking for clarity on it, but armed police officers, heavily armed police officers at roadblocks or different intersections been popping up. This, of course, is all a part of that overt strategy. Is
Yes.
it something that's going to be lasting right throughout, or?
Yes, yeah. All part of our annual Operation Winter Guardian. One can appreciate that this year we have sort of prioritized our attention to the armed robberies. So that's where you see the escalation of heavily armed officers at the VCPs.
And for the layman, what is a VCP?
Well, vehicle checkpoint. Yes, thank you. Sorry about
I didn't know.
Yes.
So, it's unusual. It's been a long time since we've had this many robberies happening. I can't think of a time that we'd had so many. What's making it particularly difficult for you to find them? I mean, are these like mastermind criminals or what?
I would say not. No, they're locals almost certainly. Every description we've got is that they are local youth. They are probably on our radar. You know, we're confident that the people we're looking at are the right people. They're surveillance conscious. They're forensically aware. A lot of them are on bail. You know, and that's the problem. They learn our tactics. The more we arrest them, the more we prosecute them, the more they learn how we operate, and they try and avoid that. So it is a challenge, professional challenge. We're after them. They don't want to get caught.
think another challenge that we have as well is the numbers. There's not 3 or 4 persons that we're looking at. There's our 14 and more persons that we're actually. So any 3 or 4 can get together one night and decide they're going to do something when we commit a robbery.
And you just don't have the resources then to follow all 14 all the time. You just can't do it, right? Presumably, because that's what people are asking.
It does give us a challenge. It does provide a challenge for us.
If the illegal numbers is viewed as potentially an easy target or just a target in general, what is police doing to eliminate this enticing target for this criminal element?
He means numbers.
The numbers.
The numbers robberies were the first in the series. That we haven't had a numbers robbery recently. That they've changed, and we think that's a group change as well. So the guy that we charged, and this is the problem, we charge him with one offence. I'm confident he's committed 5, 6, maybe 10 of the offences. So we may have disrupted all those other 10. Unless we can get forensic evidence or other evidence, we're not going to be able to charge him with them, but hopefully we'll stop them. But that was one spree of offending. They've changed. I know you're aware there were 2 ladies followed from cash points last week. That was a real change. That we've not seen that before. What I will say is most of these offences are only getting $200 to $500. It's tiny amounts of money when you think there's 3 people involved in some of these robberies, 4 in some. So they're committing a robbery where they're going to get a minimum of 7 years in prison and they're getting $100 each. It's absurd, but the small amounts probably drive them on to do another one. And we are noticing spree offending. So we've had a pattern. We had Friday nights for 2 weeks running, we had a Thursday night another week, we had a Tuesday night another week, where we had 2 or 3 offences in one night, probably by the same teams. On one occasion we think it was 2 separate teams coincidentally operating at the same time. So we can't be everywhere at once. We've got offences in Georgetown, offences in West Bay, offences in Prospect. We've got resources out spread across the island as far as we can. We know these people have got access to multiple cars. So we've seized 6 of their cars, but they've still got access to others. We've had one occasion where the car's owned by a family member who doesn't know who was using the car on the night. We can keep the car for a while, but ultimately we're going to have to give that car back to the family member.
I got 3 questions, if I could ask them. The first one is in relation to the groups. Are they commingling at any time? Do you think that they're known to each other and are competing for the spoils, per se?
I don't think they're competing. They're mix and matching between them and just hitting available targets. I don't think it's that well organised and planned. It's reasonably spontaneous.
And the weapons, are they using real weapons or fake weapons?
The one man we've charged, who was on bail for a real armed robbery where shots were fired, on this occasion used a toy gun. Literally a toy shot, and he hit the person with it and it fell apart and parts were found in the premises.
Okay. My second question, security officers. You recommended that businesses look at hiring security firms to protect and also get cameras. What is a security officer expected to do? If I'm in a location, this is a security officer, and someone comes to the location, what is he expected to do?
Well, as we've advised previously, they're really the eyes and ears for the police, not for support of call, and just to give that call into 911 and report what is happening. They've been told not to be approaching these individuals because it's unwise. There's no telling what. So far, we've had no instances since August, and all the 32 robberies we were found, shots have been discharged. But still, we've advised, just be the eyes and ears for us. Call us if you see something that's not.
We've had an indication that these people are doing some sort of reconnaissance. They're driving past, looking at a premises first, and we've had calls and we've stopped people. If they've got nothing on because they're doing a reconnaissance, we have to let them go. But that action in itself deters them, and they will look at easier targets. If they know someone has called the police or is likely to call the police, they will go somewhere else, undoubtedly. So it's a deterrent. We've asked people to improve their CCTV, to improve door locks with buzzers. I know some of the premises have got buzzer doors and they wait until somebody comes or goes and then rush in. But while they're waiting, that's an opportunity to call us. And we have had a couple of calls, people loitering, just suspicious, and we've responded. On one robbery, the blue lights alone deterred the offenders and they ran off. So we are exploring all options and trying all options.
My last question is regarding the community. So therefore you recommend that the communities that recommend do the same thing. If they're approached by these people, they should just give them what they have and report it.
Undoubtedly they shouldn't fight back. It's only money. It's not nice, but yeah, don't fight back, give up the money, be observant, watch your surroundings, see what happens. We will stress, and I'm sure you've seen it, that Crime Stoppers have offered a $25,000 reward. The government have upped that to $100,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of these people. So the public out there, I know they would be doing it anyway, but there's a huge incentive to give us the right information to be able to catch these people dirty, to be able to put them back in prison.
And so would you recommend that instead of using cash, to use debit cards?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, a cash-based society, tap and go, is a safer option. But the criminals have to know that. They have to know that that's what's happening. Otherwise, they're going to try you.
There's also the matter of some of us carry around more than just money or cards. It's other valuables. You'll find people's stuff in their purses and bags and stuff. Would it make sense for people to be a little more sort of personally vigilant, carry less valuables around, be careful when you're going to the bank machine, that kind of thing? I mean, I'm not saying it's their fault, I'm saying, would it make sense to adapt some of our behaviours?
It's always sensible. I will say we're still getting theft from cars with people leaving far too much on view in their cars. And sometimes with the cars unlocked as well. People, it's a lovely country, it is a safe country generally. People do trust each other, but take some sensible precautions.
Yeah, personal safety. We have reached out to members of the public. Jody, you've done some press release as well. Again, Winter Guardian, Operation Winter Guardian is all around safety during the Christmas season. Unfortunately, this year we've had to prioritize with the armed robberies, as I alluded to earlier. But certainly personal safety. If you go shopping, don't leave your hard-earned gifts in the car exposed. Be very cognizant of your surroundings. So it's just that we're in a time right now where things are happening, and we have to be cognizant that our surroundings and making sure that we take our personal safety.
Can I ask a question about the vehicles? You say that you've got 6 vehicles, and I mean that seems to be quite a big clue, and yet you say they're family cars, and when you go to the family members, they say that they don't know who's using the car. I mean, maybe you can explain that to the public a bit more, because I think people would imagine that if you've got the car and you go to the house and the car is registered, there's only, how many people have access to the car in a family? 4 people?
Certainly, that's one car that I can remember. One car was a hire car that had been stolen the night of the robbery and was found burned out. Other cars just appeared to be pool cars. Certainly, we've had 2, I think, that are on false number plates that are not reported stolen, but they're being covered up and having number plates from other vehicles. So we put out a press release in the last month asking people to report number plates missing off of cars.
Yes.
So we've got an index of them. That causes us issues with CCTV obviously and monitoring and tracking. But let me think, there's another one's a girlfriend's car there. So there were 2 that were probably associated to family members. But we can't make a family member tell us who's got the car. We can try, we can arrest, we can interview. Legal advice, they don't have to say anything. We can't make them say. But if the car's registered to a lady and we know a man's done the robbery, it's not the lady who's done the robbery in that car. And if it's her car, ultimately we have to give the car back.
Can I ask a question that you probably can't truly answer, but it's more of a bigger general question? It's the kind of the why now, why here. This seems so different than what we had seen in the past. Has something shifted?
Certainly, there is one matter, and I've said it before. If we intercept the drugs canoe and we get the drugs, we get the boat, we don't get the people, they're stuck on island without money, without a route off. We know we intercepted a drugs canoe that Caymanians were crewing. They got off on the island. We didn't catch them. I'm confident one of these crew is part of them. So they're committing offences to fund criminal lifestyles. And once they've started, they're on that path. They know they're going to go to prison for a long time. Unfortunately, they then, it's difficult to get off that wheel of crime.
So like the whack-a-mole game, close this thing, but they're popping up in a different way.
That's exactly what we're doing. Exactly, we're jumping all over the island, and they're doing the same.
So what you're saying is that they've come on the drug canoes, the drugs have been seized or taken or intercepted, and they've leapt off the boat and managed to escape, but then they're left holding the baby, as it were, for the drug dealers, so they owe money for it, so then robbing.
That's my understanding of it. That's the way I see it, and that's only one of the groups.
Okay, so this is it is sort of connected to gang crime, then, isn't it? It's not. I mean, you keep saying they're not gangs, but I think it sounds to me like it's gangster crime. Isn't it?
It's individuals involved in crime.
As far as, just to take it back to that reward that is being offered up, could police say whether or not you've received any information, any tips have come in since this reward has been put out there?
I'm not aware of any at this point.
It was Friday, right?
It was just Friday, literally late on Friday night. So
there's certainly, I would stress, tip line is on the RCIPS website. That's where we get information from. Obviously, Crime Stoppers is online, and you can respond through there. But we are receiving tip line information. It has resulted in some of these stops and searches that have unfortunately not resulted in arrests and charges yet. But I'm sure if it continues, we will.
Someone's asking whether or not you're bringing people in to interview them. Can you just explain for the public's benefits what's required for you to even bring someone in for questioning?
Reasonable grounds to suspect that they're involved in a criminal offence. So
being a person of interest may not be enough.
That's a spectrum. When they get towards the top end of the spectrum, towards suspect, then we can arrest and we can interview, yes.
But if they don't say anything, you don't have any evidence, then you have to let them go.
Absolutely, yeah.
Any other questions?
There weren't any robberies this weekend.
No, the last robberies were on the 14th of December. Since the 14th of December, we've had no robberies. That was the night we had two. One in the countryside area, and then early morning on Eastern Avenue.
Right.
After 3 in the morning.
So there's two incidents this weekend in Marquee Plaza. Do you know what's driving? Are they hanging out at the coffee shop now and stabbing each other and shooting each other? Or what's going on?
Yeah, so I don't think we've done it yet, but certainly you'll get you'll all get that notification as far as the incidents we're investigating over the weekend. So what I would say, we had 3 instances of wounding over the weekend. 2, one of which was at the Marquee Centre in that power supply, that area, and then the second was a Friday night, and then that was a Friday night with the stabbing, and then last night we had a shooting. Reported shots were fired at the location. The victim had already been transported to the hospital. We attended. We recovered a number of spent casings, and that was just before 7 p.m. last night. I think the time was.
There was people who thought that they witnessed a police chase, and then others said that the police were actually escorting that vehicle to the hospital. Can you clarify that more?
So, yes, so it was not a police chase. It was just the victim was transporting
the injured person.
Member of the community was transporting the victim to the hospital, And we had engaged an individual, not at the time, just as natural police response. When we learned what was happening, it just continued.
I was wondering if you were escorting them or assisting them getting to the hospital while you were behind the vehicle, but sounds like they found that later.
Yeah, as what would normally happen, a car is seen, fleeing the scene, and natural response is police to have a look at it. But we were able to rule that out fairly fast.
Is there anything else you want people to know that we haven't asked about, or that comes to mind, that things that you want, especially, I mean, we're, I don't know, a couple of minutes away from Christmas now, and the shopping is still going, and people are still out and about.
Well, absolutely, and I think people should go out and shop. There's no reason why not to go out and shop. And I think that's the message that we want to get here today, is we're still one of, I would argue, we're probably the safest place in the Caribbean region. In fact, it was a week ago, I was at a conference at the Association of Caribbean Commissioners conference, and when you listen to some of the problems in some of the other Caribbean islands and within the region, as far as the level of gun violence, we're still by far the safest place in the region. I think for us, the message is we're safe. We're still a relatively safe place. Go. It's the festive period. Go. Enjoy yourselves. The important bit there is that we will be out there as well, ensuring that you have necessary police presence out there, so you can feel safe while you're doing so. For us, it's important that you, Mr. Lanzo mentioned it earlier, if you have, you have seen something that looks suspicious, whether that's a car that is perhaps circling a location, you do see an individual who is perhaps hiding among vegetation and foliage at the business premises, or just anything that looks out of the ordinary, just call us, just give us a call and we will respond.
Yes.
I have a question from a viewer just inquiring whether or not the police are able to do anything to track stolen vehicles, like in real time, and whether or not that new license, the registration, is assisting in any way with the tracking of stolen vehicles.
I don't think we want to go into tactics and what we can and can't do. As I say, that the more we talk about, the more the criminals become aware, the more they try and evade. So we've got a range of tactics.
Can you take a stab in the dark and tell us whether or not we're on the downswing? Do you think this sudden spike in robberies is now beginning to level out and are about to go back down, or do you suspect we might be seeing some more going into Christmas?
Well, I think our position is that the heightened visibility, what we're doing at the moment, perhaps have stalled it somewhat, but rest no doubt, to fully stop it, we need to catch these individuals. Yeah. And once we catch these individuals, and it may not necessarily be that they charge for robbery or robberies, maybe other offences, you will no doubt see a reduction. Yeah. But the key there is that we really need to apprehend these individuals and bring them to justice. Yes, we're doing everything to give our investigators a bit of breathing room, a bit of an opportunity to try to gather all the evidence they need. So that's and then obviously the public reassurance. So the heightened visibility, the overt policing is to make you feel safe, go out, feel safe, and at the same time allow our investigators an opportunity to get the evidence necessary. But that is really what's going to stop it.
And to give you an example there, as Mr. Walton says, we recovered one of the cars that we were confident was used in a robbery. We found proceeds from a burglary in the car. Forensic links resulted in the person being charged with a burglary and being remanded in custody. So that's another form of disruption. That's what we will do. We'll take them, Al Capone approach, take them for anything.
We'll take where we get.
We'll lock them away.
Yeah. So can I just clarify? So of the suspects, you've obviously you've got one on remand that was actually, you believe, and you've charged him with a robbery, but you've got another suspect that's now charged with another crime.
Yes.
And didn't you have one when we came last time? There was a similar situation where there was so there's like, out of the group that you're looking at, in actual fact, you've got 3 of them that have been charged with something at least. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And then people taking matters into their own hands in terms of protecting their vehicles. Somebody was inquiring about, I don't know, the technology that might be available to an individual to explore. Car alarms. I don't know if back in the day we used to have the steering wheel locks, and we all need to go back to those now. And you know,
I don't think there's been an increase in thefts of cars. There's been a couple used in these, but it's not a significant increase. Yeah. This is just cars that they can get to use that aren't registered to them, that have just been passed on and passed on and passed on. They're not necessarily stolen cars.
I think that one of the things to highlight, though, as it relates to that, is that when you're selling a car, as a vehicle owner, you must make sure that you go through the proper process with that new person that is owning the car, so that the car isn't being used to commit crimes while it's still registered in your name, because then that put you as the owner in a lot of problems as well.
Yeah, it's some of these vehicles are sold 3, 4, 5 times,
and they're never transferred.
And never transferred. So just to give you a scenario, you know, if that vehicle is used in an armed robbery, and it comes back to the owner 2 years ago, you can only imagine what's going to happen. Police are going to show up at your door.
I think that's a licensing loophole that needs to be closed. That causes a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And it's quite easy to happen.
Yeah.
Yes. I just want to stress on the Crime Stoppers Award. My appeal is to the general public, but also there are family members out there that knows what's happening here, know that their relatives are committing these robberies. This applies to you as well. I'll make an appeal to you. Do the right thing. Tell us. Get in touch with our tip line. And go online and give us the information we need. The Cayman Islands should not really continue on this avenue where we're having robberies, multiple robberies, at any time, but especially this time of the year.
And again, I've banged the drum. We do get information on tip line. It is almost always anonymous information, which is intelligence for us. Yes. We need evidence to prosecute. So we might know an awful lot about what's going on, but until we can get the evidence, we can't prosecute. And I just would say we've got robust processes, procedures. We can protect people, but we need people to stand up, be counted, do the right thing, and give evidence against these people. If everybody did that, we would be in a much safer place, and we wouldn't be having these problems now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.